I'm going to share my screen. All right, so this here was the original one I drew up the other day. If you'll notice every once in a while, AutoCAD will display attribute definitions really weird. Like this one here. If you look over here, you can see the justification is middle, but it's not actually moving it to middle. It's actually showing it where the insertion point is. It's not actually displaying correctly. So it's just kind of a flake, and that will happen sometimes. You'll enter, like you see these all line up by the middle, but it's just kind of flaking out. It's having some issues. So you will see it kind of stuff. Okay, so here we have title block from Cody. Now, Cody, this is supposed to be your block, either inserted in a drawing or just a block by itself. You have this in here and you have this in here. This is a little bit of trash in your drawing. You don't want that in your drawing. Your title block is important because you want to make sure it has no trash in it, because this drawing will be copied and copied and copied or this block will be copied and copied and copied and used in hundreds or thousands of drawings. Okay, and nothing's worse than having a lot of clutter and just stuff in your title block. So you want to make sure you get your title block clean and very well put together. You're going to strive for perfection, but you're never really going to get there. There's going to be something that you end up with 37 drawings. You're like, oh man, I messed that one up. I'll show you ways to fix that kind of thing. But the point is, start off as clean and precise as you possibly can when you start that thing. Okay, everything looks good in here. It looks like you went through and did everything kind of what I did on the video. Your alignments here are kind of a little messed up, but that's just yours are actually messed up. But you'll see here. Actually, maybe they aren't messed up. Hold on, let me see here. Yeah, they are just kind of a little off. So what you do is you want to put that into a block format. Okay, is this what you're talking about? You're having problems with, Cody? Cody? Can you hear me, Cody? We can't hear you, Cody. Okay, we'll get to Cody in a minute. All right. So we're going to also talk about a couple of things when you are cleaning up your drawing. Okay, so say you get this all ready, you're all good to go. And
can you guys hear me?
Can you hear you now? Yes, sir.
Oh, I had to unplug and plug in my mic. I was talking the whole time. I was like, I meant to delete all that, and I was talking about the block and everything. That was funny. It just wasn't picking it up, I guess.
Gotcha. All right. So when you delete this, okay, then so if you delete a lot of stuff in the drawing, you're like worried about layers being in there or anything else. First thing to do is, before you start cleaning your drawing, is set your layer to 0. Okay, make sure you're there, and then run the purge command. Delete everything out that you don't want, and the purge command will pop up this dialog box. It'll show you a lot of things that can actually be deleted from here. And you can say purge checked items or purge all. Purge all, and then purge all items. Then purge all again. Purge. Then if it doesn't have any more, then you can't do anything. You say close, and now your drawing is completely purged. Okay. Now your file size was 41.1 kilobytes initially, so I'm going to save as, so we can actually find out what the new title block size is, and I'm going to bring that into. Let's go to Dropbox, and we'll go to development, and we'll say AutoCAD. I thought I had a class in here. And we'll make a new folder. Okay. And I'm going to save it in here. We're going to put your initials in front of CL dash title block. Boom. And now you can see it's down to 37.6 kilobytes. Again, that didn't crunch it down a whole lot, but it does save a little bit of space there. And overall, you're in pretty good shape. 9 times out of 10, when you add a logo into your file, they're going to be a little more complicated than this, and they will tend to make your file grow up. You want to try and keep it as compact as possible. But if you end up with a title block that's around, 40 to 70 kilobytes, you're doing pretty good. Okay. I've seen some people have really totally screwed things up, and they're 500 megabytes, and you're like, or 500 kilobytes. And you're like, what are you doing? You're starting off with a large file that you don't need to make it that large. Okay, so overall, you did good here. You have not made a block out of it though yet, and that's kind of the problem I have with this aspect of it. Let's go over here to Brandon's. And one thing I know about Brandon's, he says title block assignment. So it's not the name of his title block. So if I click on here, I can see his title block name is 2023 ArchD title block. And we can verify if it's ArchD real quick by using the distance command. I'll say from END point of here to END point of here. And it shows us 3 foot by 2 foot. So that's perfect. Okay. If I wanted to see the inches, I'd have to actually type in units. And I'd go ahead and set that to, oh, he's got it on engineering. I'd set that to decimal and pick OK. And then I do distance again. END point of END, if I could type there to B point of here. And you see it's 36 by 24. So it's 24 by 36 tile block. That's perfect. Okay. Now if I look in here, I can see we have our company logo, we have our company name, and we have some titles in here. We have drawing area number, we have scale factor, we have revision, we have some project number. We have a few different things in here, so that's good. Let's double click on this and kind of edit our title block, our data in our title block. Title line 1, title line 2, title line 3, drawing number. The order looks good here. Okay, we look through here. Rev 2, Rev 3, Rev 4, Rev 5, Rev 6. So looks like Brandon followed it to the T on the class assignment. And you actually made it a block, and that's good. So it's a good name of block. All right. So how do you use this drawing once you actually have made it? Okay. Now, once you get your block the way you want it, okay, you can W block it out, okay, from this drawing here. And you can actually write this one right here out to a particular spot. A couple of different ways to use a block. All right. If you're starting a new drawing, we talked about how you can actually create a template and start it from that template and kind of just keep going from that space there. You can insert blocks from File Explorer. Okay. So if I bring up File Explorer over here, you can actually grab a block. I could grab this block here, and since it's actually a block format right now, because it's actually, I'm inserting it as a block. So I'm going to start a new drawing here, and I'm going to insert your title block, Cody, and see how it actually comes together for us on that aspect. So I'm going to grab it. I'm going to drag and drop it. Okay. Now it's asking me, is in use, blah, blah, blah. Would you like to? Yeah. Actually, no. Shouldn't be doing that. Let me close this out. Say changes to this. No. All right. Now I will insert it from here. I'm going to insert into, oops, I want to go to this drawing. Click on here. All right. Boom. Now I'm going to drag and drop. If you take it up here, it opens. If you put it in here, it should go to insert, but it did not. Must be something they changed in this particular version of AutoCAD. Normally, it would actually go to the insert command. All right, so I'm going to do insert. And I'm going to, now, if you do dash insert, you're running the command line only version. And you'd have to actually type in the C:// my documents, my blah, 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 backslash this, backslash this, and my title block. You'd have to type all that stuff in. Another trick you can do here is you can actually do the tilde. You use the shift key and that's the little funky tilde looking thing. It looks like a little wave. It's next to the 1 key to the left, and it's just shift key. You have that reverse apostrophe up there, but this is just above it on the keyboard. So look down your keyboard. Does everybody see the tilde? Does everybody understand That's a tilde? Okay, that's a tilde. All right, so if you do a shift tilde and hit that, it'll pop you up a dialog box. And at that point in time, you can click on documents and you can go find that particular file. So I can actually go to my development folder. I can go to AutoCAD class, and I can grab this and I can say open, and I can insert. Now I can go to 0, 0, 0. Boom. Now I'm inserting your title block as a block. So I hit enter, enter, enter. Now I'm going to see the attribute order upon which your attributes come in. You can see this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, this is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 1, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, I love attributes, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38. I'll do that, 39, 40. There's a title, 41, 42, and there you go. All right, so you can see what the order was that I actually filled these out in. This is your prompt order, okay? When you're W block or when you're making a block out of it, you want to make sure you pick the attributes in the order you want them to actually come across and be in the order that you want them to be. Now, there is a trick. So you get in here, you're like, this is definitely all screwed up. I don't want it this way. You can actually use a tool called Batman, Battman. All right. It's going to show you a list up here of different blocks that are in your drawing. From here, you can do a few things. You can take sync. Okay. It'll reinsert the title block or the block and resynchronize all the settings of your attributes. We're not doing that because we haven't changed anything here. But what we could do is we could come in here and I could change this order up right now. Okay. If you look in here, this red means you have duplicated tags. Okay, rev date 1, rev date 1, rev date 1, rev date 1, rev date 1. These should be rev date 1, rev date 2, rev date 3, rev date 4, rev date 5. So you're going to have data inconsistencies when you do that. This should be rev date 6. All right, this would be rev date 7. So you want to make sure that if you bring this up in this, you don't have any duplicates. Okay, let's look over to Brandon's and see if he had any issues with that one. Okay. And looking here and looks like there's no red, so we're all good to go there. Okay. Now, modes, L, boom, annotative, no, that's all good. Excellent. All right. Looks good. You go back over here. Cody, I'm not picking on you. Just your drawing helps, gives me some things to actually discuss and kind of go over. So I appreciate you guys actually getting this
Gotcha.
in better shape because the last two title blocks I got, one last got Brandon, the last one I got from you were definitely nowhere near close to a title block. So, all right. So again, Batman, you can actually rearrange these things in here. So if you wanted to, you can come in here and say, okay, I want title, which is way down here. I want these three, this to be up. I can just move it up. You just sit here and continue to move it all the way to the top. Say you want that to be your first one. You can come in here and manipulate this stuff just like this. Okay. Or you can actually just, when you block it, pick it correctly and you won't have this issue. This is handy if you have an existing block and you just messed one up and you want to actually move it over. Okay, if I went too high, then I can move it down. And the same thing would apply for all these. You just move them up and you just continue. All right, so now what's going to happen is I'm not going to mess with all these. I'm just going to do these few. I'll move it down. Okay, pick OK, apply, pick OK. Now, if I erase this and I say insert, now if I use the regular insert command, I can simply do this and then I can type in 0, 0, 0, boom, and enter, enter, enter. Okay, well, there. And there's another function here called ATT. Let me close this out. ATTDIA. Okay, if that's set to 0, it means there's no dialog box for your attributes. You hit 1 and set that again. I'm going to erase last, and I'm going to insert that again, and double click, and I'll type in 0, 0. And now you see a dialog box pop up here. I say 1, 2, 3, 4. Oops. 4, you can see the order of what's it's actually better. Those 3 that I had on top actually came out nice and consistent. Okay, just for presentation sake, you might want to make sure you go upper and lower case consistently. If you're going to go all caps, that's fine. If you're going to go upper and lower, just make sure you follow that consistency across the board here. I'm guilty of it too. Sometimes I'll throw some things in there like, oh crap, I need to fix that, and then you never get back to it. You'll also notice that you sometimes will typo things, so make sure you don't typo things. Try and get it because if you do design a good title block and everybody's in your company starts using it, you want it to actually look good and professional, not have little silly things like that. Okay, all right, so here we are. We've made this block, or Cody made this block. We're here, it's good. And so this is as it is as a block. All right, so again, you can start a new drawing and insert that block. Okay. Now this happens, the new insert command brings up something you've used in another drawing, and so you can actually grab it from here just fine like this, or it's something that I've used over here. All right. So you have lots of different options there. So understanding you got current drawing, boom, other drawings, recent, things that you've actually messed with, current drawing. So you can, it has a lot more in here than Insert's ever had before. And I'm not a huge fan, but I can see some of the benefits of it. And again, change is sometimes painful, and sometimes we just like things being the way they were. But with new software, you're going to want to basically be able to adapt to things. There will be new ways to do things, new tools to do things, and everything else. AutoCAD is definitely no exception. One thing I do like about AutoCAD is 97% of the things that were actually there from many, many years ago are still there and can be accessed exactly the same way when you're utilizing this command prompt down here. Okay, and that's what I typically like to use. All right. So now we'll use our blocks. We'll use multiple blocks in a drawing. All right. So let's go back to here. All right. I'll stick with my drawing here. And so if you're in a drawing and you're trying to draw something like a wiring diagram, something like that, if you type in edit right now, the only block I have in here, oops, actually, oh, this is the block. I need to actually insert this, close. No, insert. And I'm going to say that's Brandon's other drawings. This one here, I'll pick OK. Boom. I'm in Brandon's drawing to get out the drawing. Start new drawing. Now I'm going to go here and 0, 0. Good. And I'm going to pick OK. No, that was my drawing. That was not yours. Okay. All right. Boom. Yeah. All right. Okay. So we're all good. Pick OK. And we're going to close that out. Okay. So here we have our drawing. Now, if we're going to place some other things in here, like wiring diagram components, let's say this is a 1-to-1 drawing. I click on this title block. I can see it's inserted at 1-to-1. It is inserted at 0, 0, 0. That's an ideal place for your title block to be inserted in layout. Okay. It's not always the case if that's going to be in model space. In model space, the scale will be different and the insertion point will be different as well, because sometimes you're moving this around your drawing. You're not moving your drawing to your title block. Keep that in mind. That's a very important thing. You move your title block when you're in model space to your drawing. You don't move your drawing to model space. All right. I'm going to show you what I mean by that. So if I draw a P line, and this building is 120, let's see, 1,200, 120 feet, and it's at 690 degrees, and I'm going to say 1,200 at 80 degrees and close. Boom. So it makes sense. Okay. My title block cannot encompass that, correct? Okay. So line from mid of here to perpendicular to here. Boom. And say I have some other things in here. Say this is one part of the building. We have some storage containers over here. And P box. P box is, sorry, it's a list routine. It's just, that's all it is. It just creates a P line box. That's all it does. It's just a routine. And again, the array command would have been more efficient for this and making this happen. Okay, so if I want to draw a particular area, say I want to divide this in, say, 4 areas that I actually draw my information on. Okay, I can scale this title block up a little bit to where it kind of looks like it's going to fit about a quarter or half of this. Okay, I can move it around and I can kind of scooch it around there just like that. Now, if I look at this, I'm like, okay. Now I click on that and I look at that. That is a scale factor of 19.2312. That's a horrible scale factor. It's not a real scale factor or anything similar to that effect. Now, a scale factor that's pretty close to that would be 24. Okay, I'm going to use 24, 245, 24, 24, 24. Make sure that you apply the same scale to all 3, X, Y, and Z. Do not use 24 and then 1 and you're like, why is this weird? Because if you do this, you can see how that kind of skews your title block quite a bit. All right, so make sure you match them all together. All right, when you're creating your block, there is an option to scale evenly, and you can actually set that in there as well. It's not a permanent property, but it's something you can actually put in the block, and then it kind of stays there until somebody goes in and edits it. All right, now when we're breaking a drawing up like this, we might end up breaking it into what we call match lines. All right, so I'm going to move this title block out of the way for just a minute. Boom. And I'm going to draw a match line. All right. So first I want to draw something that fits inside here fairly well. So I'm going to draw another P-line box. And I'm going to say, this is my area that I want to be done. I'm going to say 600. And I'm going to come up and I'm going to actually eyeball and say 400. And then come back 600 and close. Okay. I'm going to move this down a little bit inside my drawing. I'm not using Snap or anything like that, but I recommend using Snap for inside the title block area. This is what I want to be able to print. This is the area I want to be able to print. So what I can do is I can now copy this from END point of here to say, I didn't quite get everything in there I wanted. So I might need to make this a little bit longer. And that's what I'm going to do. I'll make this a little bit bigger. So once it's catched a little bit more. So I'm going to bring this over another 100. And I'm going to say copy this from END point of this. And I'm going to actually bring this over here. I'm going to kind of place it in the middle here. So kind of, this is my match lines now that I'm making. Okay, END point of here. Boom. And copy this and this from END point of here to END point of here. So what match lines give me is they tend to make these into 4 drawings. This be a drawing, this be a drawing, this be a drawing, this be a drawing. Now, if you have all this in this one spot, it's kind of difficult to make this happen in model space because you end up with title blocks on top of each other, and then how do you hide things? You have to use wipeouts, you have to use clips and stuff like that. That's not something we want to do. So there's definitely a much more efficient way to do this, and that's called paper space. All right, when we go into paper space, we can actually create viewports that just look at a particular area of the drawing. Okay, I'm going to do that in just a minute, but I'm going to show you kind of what we would have to do if I wanted this to be all in model space the way I'm trying to show you. This becomes tedious, and this is one of the reasons paper space is actually a plus, and it has a lot of benefits. Okay, so I would have to actually make a copy of all this. Boom. And I'll actually copy all from 0, boom, boom, and done. Actually, Control-Shift-C from 0, and all of this. Boom. All right, so I want all these to stay in the same spot. So I'm going to create 4 drawings. That's 1. Control-V, 0, boom. And I'm going to go another one here. Control-V, 0, boom. And another one. Control-V, 0, boom. That's 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, that's all of them. Okay, so the first one, 3, is we're going to save as. We're going to call this drawing 01. And we're going to go over here. We'll call this save as drawing 02. We're going to go over here, save this as drawing 3. And this is going to be save as drawing 4. All right, so we have our 4 drawings. Drawing 1, 2, 3, and 4. All of them have the same thing in it. We go here, then sense. I go, oh, I don't have the title block. Sense. That's okay. I'll get the title line just right. And no. What did I just do? Oh, sense. All right, we're gonna open 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know 1. Let's close 1. Okay. All right, so I got 1 open. Here's 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right. So if we get here, and now we want to trim this out to where it's just the 1 drawing. This is going to be 1. This is going to be 2. This is going to be 3. This is going to be 4. All right. To show me that, I can actually add some text. I'm going to add some text here, and give it a rotation. I'm going to say drawing 1. Okay, that's too small. I'm going to scale this up. This is just for looks right now. So I know my scale factor is being 24. So we can say it's going to be about 8 inches tall. It's quite not, actually not where I want to be. Let's go 60. All right, that's good enough. All right, so I'm going to copy this over here, down to here, and down to here. All right. This is 2. This is 3. This is 4. And now, all I want in this drawing is this right here. First, I'm going to copy my text, my drawing 2, 3, and 4 over to my other drawings. Control-V, 0, boom. There 3, Control V, 0, 0, boom, and 4. Control V, 0, 0. I didn't worry about drawing 1 in these because I already have it in drawing 1, and I'm not worried about it. So to make this the way I'd need to make it, I'd have to trim out my components. Okay, I'd actually have to draw a line from E and D point of here, right down here, and draw a line from here all the way across here, and then trim everything else out of it. I can erase everything out here and everything out here. Okay, then I have to trim out anything else that's sticking outside. Okay, so now I trim this. Now I need trim from here. Boom, boom. And now that's all I need in my drawing. So now I can erase this, and I can erase this and this. Now I move this from E and D point of here to E and D point of here. All right, so now this is my first drawing. All right, typically you have a layer called match lines. I'm going to erase that because I have a duplicate. All right, I'll create a layer called match lines. Okay, or match line. And I usually like magenta. It stands out. Okay, click OK. And you're typically going to set that to a phantom line type. Okay, load. Scroll down to phantom. Use big phantom. Pick OK. I'll set that to the layer. Pick OK. And now that's good. And now I'm going to put this as my match line layer, and I'm going to go ahead and put that on the match line layer. All right. So now, since I'm in this drawing, my LT scale needs to match the scale of my drawing. Okay, I'm going to set it to 24 because that's what we actually set that for. So now you can kind of see the line types showing up and everything else. That's area 1. So I need to do the same thing. So see, 0. Shift C, 0 from here. I'm going to just copy this to each one of these drawings. Control V. And what I'm going to do, since I've pasted it, I can hit escape now because all I'm doing is creating that layer. Control V, and I can escape, and then Control V and hit escape. And now you'll see that layer exists in here now as well. So I can actually move the match lines to that layer. So I can actually move all these over to the match line layer. It was kind of a cheat to create those layers in there without actually pasting anything in or anything like that. As soon as you go to paste something, it's already created that layer, and you can escape and cancel the copy if you want to. You understand how AutoCAD works and the order and how it operates, you'll learn little tricks like that, and how you'll understand it better, and it'll make a lot more sense to you. Okay, so I've created all those. I do need my title block from each one of these, so I'm going to Control Shift C, 0, 0, and I'm going to actually grab it. Actually, not 0, Z, have it into that viewpoint of here, because I want that to be the same spot on every one of those. So I'll hit there, and now I'm going to go to 4. I'm going to hit Control V to END point of here, and then on this one, I'm going to do Control V to END point of this one. And then on this one, I'm going to Control V to END point of this one. All right, so now I need to clean out anything I don't need. Erase. I don't need any of this stuff here. I don't need drawing 4. I don't need that. And I don't need these down here. But I do need to trim everything else out. So I'm going to do trim, hit here, and I can drag right across here, and I can drag across here. And now that's all I have in there is just that. All right, so now that's 2. Now I go to 3. I'm going to trim out. I'm going to erase everything I don't need first. Out here, I can erase all that, and I can erase up to there, and I can actually erase these because those don't actually go into the match line area. And then I can trim out from this. You can pick out this, and I can pick this, and I'm done. Erase this and this, and now I'm left with just what's supposed to be in that drawing. And then I can go down to 2 and do the same stuff. 2, 3, and 4. Now I just need to do this one. Erase. I can erase everything outside of the match lines of my drawing. And then I'm going to trim everything else out. I have to pick this as my match line. Nope, not that one. Trim. Erase that. Erase. Oops, nope. That. All right, now trim this. I want to trim out all this right here. And this is not, it's actually not in that drawing. So I click that, boom. And now Here's all that's supposed to be in my drawing. Okay. So now you print these out, and then you can actually piece them together in the large format. You'd have 4 24 by 36-inch drawings. So they'd make up almost like a bed sheet. Okay. A small bed sheet, but still. And then you'd actually piece those together. Now, this is kind of wretched way to do this, but it is how things were done at one point in time, because this is what I mean by your title block moves to where it needs to go. Okay, it's not nice and clean at 0, 0, 0. It's at a different spot every time you go in there. Okay, so this is when you're working in model space, your title block moves to where the drawing stuff is. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this, save this, save this, save this. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually cheat to get back to where I was. I'm going to undo. And when you're doing the undo command, it's only undoing what you're in this particular drawing. All right. So now we're going to do this as a model space set, model space paper space set. Okay, so this is my drawing. This is my building. This is my warehouse, and it has all these things in it. I don't need these trim lines. I'm going to get rid of these things here. I can leave my drawing 1, 2, and 3, and 4 in there just so I know where they're at. Okay, but typically what you do is you'd save this off as a model file. Okay, I'm going to move this somewhere else. Actually, I'm going to take that. I'm going to leave that there for right now. And I'm going to say save as, and I'm going to call this my model file. I'll just call it model file. All right. Boom. It can be anything. It can be plant. It can be drawing. It can be this. It can be electrical stuff. It can be whatever it is, because you can have multiple models in a particular file, because you can insert them as Xrefs. Okay, we'll get into that as well today. All right, so we've saved this as a model file. I'm going to Control-Shift-C this from INS of here, and I'm going to copy this here. All right, now I'm going to start a new drawing over here. I'm going to Control. And I'm going to go to paper space, which is layout 1, layout 2. By default, these are what you start with on a new drawing. Okay, you can delete this one. Boom. You can also delete this one. But as soon as you delete it, it creates another one. Okay, so layout is there. And so when you click on layout, it pops up a default viewport. You can go ahead and just delete that or keep it. It's up to you. I'm going to leave it. I'm going to delete it because I don't need it at the moment. Then I'm going to Control-V. I'm going to paste that title block in here. Okay, zoom extents. Now zoom out. Now the problem is I pasted this from a scale factor of 24. I don't need that. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to scale all this down, because this is not part of my title block. So I'm going to scale everything down from 0, 0. And I'm going to say R for reference, because it was 24, but I want it to be 1. Now I type in 1, and now that's actually scaled it correctly. Now here I am. All right, now this is going to be my viewport now. I need to make that into a viewport. Now you can do a couple ways. You can do in view, and you can actually pick 2 points, endpoint of here to endpoint of here, or you can actually tell it, I want to pick a polyline, and you pick a polyline, and it makes that the viewport. I went ahead and kept that polyline in there for different purposes. All right, now, so let's go back over here, model space. I don't have anything in model space, but if I reference in my drawing, all right, the drawing I want, I click on here. Now, if this is not open, which looks like this, I'm going to close this down. If you type in Xref, okay, it will pop up the Xref dialog box. Okay, we talked about this using PDFs and images and things like that you want to attach, but you can also attach drawings. So I'm going to actually dock this because I like it docked, and I'll dock it right there. And I'm going to click attach drawing. By default, it's that one right there, but click attach drawing. And then I'm going to go to the same spot where it was earlier, development, and we're going to go to sort by name, and I'm going to go to AutoCAD class, and it's my model file. I'm going to pick open, and I'm going to 0, 0, because we want to keep the coordinates that that system had. So I'm going to pick OK and zoom extents. Now I still don't want this title block in there, so I need to go to my model file, and now I can erase that. Boom, zoom extents. But if I click over here now, my new drawing, it's still there. Okay, did I save my model file? I will save it. All right, now what's going to happen is I click on drawing 7. You should notice a little pop-up dialog box. Typically, it'll pop up over here and say it has been updated. But you can see right here, it's a little exclamation point. It says model file has been updated. So if I click on that, I right click and I say reload, it's going to reload that for me. So here's my building, my warehouse. Here's my storage containers here, and here's my storage boxes over here. Here's drawing 1, 2, 3, and 4. So now we need to go ahead and create in layout mode to highlight that area. Now I probably want to go ahead and put this, actually the polyline underneath it, boom, and I'm going to hit shift and take off the M view. See how I have the polyline here? I'm going to go ahead and put that on match line, which actually is not here. So I need to snag that for somewhere else, or however I want to do it. So I'm going to copy this, Control C. Again, I'm cheating to get that created over here. Control V, boom, escape. And now I can highlight both of them. I'm going to use the shift key to unhighlight, because if you see up here, it says all two. You have a viewport and a polyline. Now the viewport was drawn last, so it's on top. So if I just hold down the shift and then pick, it will de-highlight the viewport. So now I can modify just the, oh man, I didn't create my layer. Okay, I didn't do it well. Okay, but anyway, we'll do that. Let's go ahead and create the layer. That way you guys can get more familiar with that match line. And I'm going to set the color to purple. And set the line type to load. And I'm going to set this to phantom. Boom. Okay. And pick it. And okay. Now, something you'll see here, you'll see different things here. You'll see viewport freeze, viewport color, viewport line type, and line type. All right. What happens is, stay away from the viewport color and viewport line type and viewport line weight stuff. Those are very specific controls. For the most part, you want to stick with just the primaries. Stay away from the viewport ones. Because what this modifying at this level is just modifying any new viewports that are actually created. It'll set them that way instead of matching what the master is. Consider this to be the master set. So you can tweak individual viewports to be exactly what you want them to be for their layers, their colors, their line types, and everything else. I highly recommend avoiding that when you can, but sometimes you do have to do it. All right, and we need to create another layer for our viewport. I'm going to say MView, or viewports. That's probably MView. No, viewports. Okay, and I'm going to leave that as magenta. Line type is going to be continuous because we don't have any line types on that, excuse me. And you typically set that to no plot. All right. And I'm going to highlight and I'm going to pick the actual viewport. Now I'm going to put that on viewports, and I'm going to cross them, and I'm going to hold shift and get just the polyline. And now I'm going to go to and put that on the match line layer. And notice the match line comes out. You see the little dash lines and everything else. But I might actually want to do something else to that. I might want to make that a little thicker. So I'm going to crossing, shift, get rid of the bin view, and I'm going to actually give this a global width of 0.03125. Boom. All right. And now you can see it's a little thickness on it. All right, good. So now I need to actually get what I want to see inside this viewport. I'm going to double click inside here. All right, so I can zoom in and out. I can zoom extents, and it shows me everything I need to do. What's nice is this box that I made around here, this viewport, is the same exact size as these boxes here. So that means I can zoom a window and get the exact fit that I want. And guess what? It's going to be a 1 equals 24 or a ½ inch equals a foot scale. So I'm going to zoom window from E and D point of here to E and D point of here. I'm going to double click outside of it. Now, if I click on the viewport, you can see here, it says ½ inch equals a foot. That means 1 equals 24. Inside the viewport, you're scaling at the inverse of 124, or the inverse is 1 over 24. That might get confusing. Don't worry about that part. Don't struggle with that, because you can see what the scale vector is here. That's the inverse of 24. Okay. So inverse means you take the number and you put it under 1, and divide 1 divided by that number is the inverse of any number. All right. So there's drawing 1. So now we can create another drawing. I can actually control save this, and I can say this is new drawing 1, and I can save as new drawing 2. I can save as new drawing 3, save as new drawing 4. And now if I go into new drawing 4, now I can double click in here, zoom out a little bit, zoom window, E&D point of here to E&D point of here. Boom. Let's control save that. I'm going to open 3 and 2. I don't have those. Oh no, sorry. 2 and 3. And we'll open 1 back up as well. Click open. Okay, so we got drawing 1. That one's good. Drawing 4 is good. Drawing 3, we need to fix that. So double click in here, zoom, dynamic, and zoom out a little bit. And I can actually just pan over here to 3. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Boom. And with zoom window, END point of. The benefit of having these boxes in here, you wouldn't want them to plot, but it makes it to where it actually allows you to zoom the window you actually want to know, and then you actually maintain the correct scale. So now when you're drawing 2, I can double click in here, zoom out a little bit, and then zoom window from END point of here to END point of here. Boom. And you click on viewport, you can see 1/2 inch equals foot. So now you've created all those drawings, but what's great about it is you don't have anything separated. So let's go back to our original one over here, which is drawing, we'll go to drawing 2. All right, so now I'm in the model space and say now this box here has moved, this one here has moved down. Okay, that far. Problem is it doesn't show up this drawing, but it doesn't update, this doesn't update drawing 4. So I click on drawing 4, it's not going to update over here. So now I'm kind of messed up. Or say if I erased it, whatever I wanted to do, I have to do it in 4 drawings if it impacts all 4, or at least 2 drawings. Okay, but if I'm actually just moving this or erasing this one over here, say if I erase this, or if I move this one here, over here, and I squish another one in here, boom, or copy, and I squish 3 in here. Okay, now I save that. Now if I go to any of these, okay, and I reload, boom, that's done. I don't have to worry about updating a whole bunch of different drawings to get that to work. Reload, boom, 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 reload, boom. And so it's all there for me. All right. So you can see that's updated and applied to all the drawings because you've made the modification in one spot instead of making a modification in 4 separate drawings. Now it impacts several other drawings, but you only had to make the true changes in the one drawing. All right. So that's the benefit of using a model space or model and using Xrefs and model space / paper space. It gives you that control to actually get a few more things done and display things properly. So now this is not broke up anymore. It's actually all in one spot. I can actually erase these, okay, now, but it's beneficial to have those because those are your match lines. So you can oops those back and then put those on a layer. And we'll actually put those back on the match line layer. I have the match line layer? I do not. Okay. I had that in here. Let's see. Control Shift C, click, and I'm going to go here. Modify Control V. Boom. Now I can escape that. Boom, boom, boom. Now I can put those on the match line layer. All right. There you go. So now I can turn that off. If I don't want that to plot, I can set that to no plot in here. Boom. And that kind of controls that so that won't plot. Now, keep in mind, you have different layer settings in each one of these drawings. There is a setting called Viz Retain. Okay, if Viz Retain is set to 1, it'll maintain the settings that I set the layers to in my drawings that reference my Xrefs. This is getting kind of complicated, and I will spend an entire drawing lesson covering that particular aspect of it. But understand, if your Xrefs not bringing over the layers the way you want it to, it's because Viz Retain is actually on, which it should be. So you have more control at the drawing level instead of at the model level. Because if I'm using somebody else's model, like I'm using piping and I want their stuff to be grayed out, if I change it in my drawing to be gray, I want it to stay that way. But if piping changes it to blue in their drawing and then it updates in my drawing, that's going to make my plot look like crap. And you want to make sure your plot comes out consistently and as expected. So that's what Viz Retain is for. All right. Now, questions on that aspect? Did I just mess up everybody's brain or what?
Is my mic working now?
Yes, your mic is working now.
There we go. Okay.
No question, Brandon?
Oh, I am so lost. I have so many questions, but no idea where to begin. So I'll just get with you after the class.
Okay. Well, I mean, some of this is actually easier if I actually am in front of you and presenting on like a whiteboard, I can kind of explain a little bit better. And I do talk fast, as you know. But what's nice about it being on a video format is you can actually go back, you rewind it, and you say, what the hell did he say there? And you can actually look at it and say, okay, now I understand a little bit better. What I would like you guys to do, you have been working on your United States map. And so get that together, and that's going to be your model file. All right. And then we're going to kind of create something similar to this to show your maps. You're going to show like, they'll break it into like 4 or 6 or 8 segments that you can actually work with, and you'll actually use your paper space title block area and kind of go from there. So make sure you have blocked that title block out correctly, Cody, the way you want it to come out, and make sure you fix all your title block attributes the way you want them to be, and make sure you make any tweaks to your title block that you need to make, so you can actually use that for your next assignment. Brandon, yours looked good. So this would be a new drawing. So all you have to do is copy this and paste it into another drawing. That's another way you can use blocks. You can Control-Shift-C, pick this, boom, and you actually drop that into a new drawing because it's a block. Boom, 0, 0, boom, and zoom sense. Now, I grabbed the spot. Now, when I just picked a spot, so notice this is not in the right spot, so I can actually easily reset that by 0, 0, and then it's all good. Zoom sense, and here I am. If I want to put that in layout mode, I can click on that, Control-V, 0, 0, boom, and again, it's not in the right spot. I'll highlight it, and I'll set that to 0, 0. So make sure you put your title block in paper space at 0, 0, 0, and make sure that this is the best spot for your 0, 0. If not, this is acceptable, but I would recommend down here to actually be the lower left-hand corner of your paper. I have drawn blocks and made blocks like that. I think one of my blocks actually had it right there because I used to hate trim marks on my drawings. But now that we actually plot the PDFs, it makes a lot more sense to actually have it there. So sometimes you plan ahead, sometimes you don't understand what might come, and sometimes you'll see something does come about that actually makes more sense. And feel free to adapt and improvise as you start to grow. But understand that just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. Okay. There's lots of ways to do something in AutoCAD. It might not be right for your industry. It might not be right for the drawing set that you're working on. And it might not be right for the group of people that you're working with, because some people don't go very in depth in their AutoCAD skills and they don't know what something is. And so they get really confused on things and everything else. Like if I take this to here, okay, and I link this to this, okay. Here. Okay, so now here we are. Somebody might come in here and say, I don't know what that means. What is that? What is that doing? What is that? I don't get it. And they're like, I don't understand. And so they'll just erase that. And then like, oh, well, crap, now it's gone. They don't understand what they're trying to get rid of that white stuff. All that means is that's a dynamic field. That means it's linked to something else, and that's what that kind of comes across as. So if you see a shaded area around a text or an attribute, something like that, it means it's linked, it's associated with some kind of data somewhere, and you might just want to look at how that actually gets done. Okay. All right. So I will stop there. All
I'm gonna have
right.
to go back and watch the video because I had a question earlier and I just can't remember what it was. I've been sitting here trying to think of what it was. It was
Oh, okay. Well, you'd always interrupt. It doesn't hurt my feelings.
gosh, I didn't want to interrupt, and then I lost it, and then I was sitting there when you were asking for questions. I was like, I knew I had a question. What was it? I was sitting here trying to think of what it was.
That's a sign of old age, right?
I'm definitely getting
All right. It could just be something about being a parent. So, having kids will do that to you too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Can confirm.
You can take her on that. All right. All right, guys. Well, we'll wrap it up there and we'll stop there. You guys have any other questions you want me to address before we get out?
No, sir. Just
No, sir.
get the states up and going, and rewatch this video so that I might have to be able to put my questions into words.
Put your what into word? Yes.
Questions
Rewatch this.
into words.
Rewatch the video, and essentially the concept is to go back to here. To have it all in. Where did I have that at? I didn't. That was in here. I do. essentially what we did is we took this whole thing right here and I did this. Where's that line? You can see how confusing that gets right in there.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I basically took 4 title blocks and wrapped it around an area so that you actually see that. So because you have match lines, this matches this match, match line is you have a match line goes from here to here. That means this continues on this sheet. And so when you look at these drawings individually, we go back to drawing 1, we know that we go down here for drawing 3. Okay. And here's drawing 3. There's other half of it. We go to the right to see drawing 4. There's that. And we go up to see drawing 2. Okay. So you're seeing individual areas of a facility. So if you have a large facility and you're trying to break it up to where you actually can zoom in on those areas because you want your drawings to be able to handle that area. So because if you print out a drawing of the entire facility, okay, and say it's 1 inch equals 40 feet, and you want to look at a lighting panel that's only 18 inches long, okay, and you're like, okay, that's a foot and a half. That's not very big in the scale of things because 1 inch equals 30 feet. All right. So how tiny is that going to be on that particular aspect of that spectrum? You won't be able to find it very well. You won't be able to see it very well. And so you want to be able to actually zoom in and kind of get those areas in a printed larger area. So it actually gives you, these are called area plans. And we will typically have a drawing that's called a key plan that would actually be here. And instead of all these, I'd have one bigger and I'd scale this here, say 4 times, boom. This would be the one that encompasses them all. Boom, like that. And then you'd act in here. This would be called a key plan. And it would say, this is in drawing 1, this is drawing 2, this is drawing 3, this is drawing 4. And then you'd reference and you'd go open up drawing 2, 3, and 4 to see those areas. This would not be part of my model file though, just so you know. The model file is just the actual model components that we actually have in our model file. This would be the model file. Oops, I braced a line and went across the middle there. No, I didn't have one. Okay, that is actually the model file, and that's the way that's supposed to be. Because that's just the components. The title block is not meant to be part of the model. Okay. All right, guys. We'll wrap it up. You guys have a good night, and we will talk to you later.
Yes, sir. Sounds good.
All right. Bye.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Have a good night.